co-host, Pam. Hi, guys. It's Michael. I want to welcome everybody back to the Pets Journey. Today it's all about energy. And I've got Pam Roussell with me today and Jenny from Floppy Cats. And we're going to talk about energy. And, it's we've been diving into all these different subjects, and every week we talk about energy, and it's like, how can the vibes in your home, within yourself, affect your cat's happiness and health? Can it? Well, we're going to find that out today, and how it can affect and what we can do to change that emotion or the energy that's going on, because we want to be centered in mind, body, and soul. And through energy, I believe we're going to find out ways of doing that today and why it's so important that we do that. I want to say hello to all the mods and everybody that's joined us so far. We're just going to catch up a little bit here because I had a little gift here hanging and I was waiting for Pam to join in. And so look what I did this weekend.
You get a pendulum. Wow, that's a selenite one, isn't it?
Selenite. Okay, yes. And
Yes.
and it's so cute because it's like when I went, I was telling Jenny, so you guys, this is my new crystal that I got this weekend, and it spoke to me. I have to say, when I went there, it spoke to me. And when I
Wow.
went to the farmer's market, I went up to this booth, and there was this Indian guy running the booth.
Mm-hmm.
And so, me being curious, I like to ask everybody, like, what's your journey here? What made you have a booth of crystals? Like, why do is this something that's just a hobby of yours or whatever? And he was so sweet. And my I may not sound the right way, but he's like, no, no, my friend, no, I grew up with crystals. I love crystals since I was 8 or 9 years old. I've had crystals my whole life. I believe in their energy. And he goes, I lived in India, and crystals mean so much to me. So I brought it to the States, and I believe by the crystal. And it was like he changed my whole perspective right there in that second, because there's so many people inside of farmers market that they buy stuff and they go there to resell it to make a living and just do something on the weekends, and maybe that's their job or whatever. And so I wanted to know if this was kind of like his little gimmick thing that he does, or if this is something that he was truly connected to. And he was like, so, of course, Serge, my husband, he's sitting there going, can we leave now? Can we leave now? And I'm asking all these questions. I'm like, well, what's this one for? What's that one for? How do you know which one's positive? How do you know which one's negative? Who's little furry? But is that a pillow I see next to you, Jenny, or is that our?
Yes,
Oh, okay. I thought it was our little Mister showing us our
Charlie
little furry
I
butt
know.
there, Mister Charles. Anyway, so I had a really beautiful conversation with him, and he really just kind of took me through different crystals, and I couldn't even tell you all the different ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat there and I said, well, I've been working with these two of my new friends that I've met online, and we talk about crystals and animals and energy that crystals hold. And, and I want to do a pendulum. Can I just do anything with a pendulum? He goes, yeah, you can make any crystal a pendulum. He goes, it's just which one calls out to you. And immediately, and Jenny said one thing earlier we won't repeat just yet, but when she first saw it, it was hanging like I had it hanging on my light right here.
And
And
you
she
could
was like,
not see the end of it.
and you could not see, yeah, it was really super close. She's like, what are you like? What is this show about? It's not about birth control, darling. Um, and so, and so I don't know. It just like it called out to me, and I grabbed it, and I said, "So tell me about this." And he told me the names. Say the name again for me again, because I know you'll say it right.
Selenite.
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 That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Selenite. Okay. And I don't know why this one particular. I said, of course I like the shape because I'm an artist, and I like the pin. It's kind of got like a pin thing to it, so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could create magic with it. And I sat there, and he goes, this is actually one of the only crystals that really is all strictly positive energy. He
Yeah.
goes, a lot of crystals will, a lot of different rocks, crystals will have positive and negative. He goes, but this one here is all positive. And I go, well, that makes sense why I was attracted to it, because it called out to me. I mean, there was like a whole table of these crystals, and all of a sudden this one here just like, and Serge is like, what are you buying that for? And I'm like, I'm gonna make a pendulum. And he's like, what are you going to do with a pendulum? And I'm like, it's something that I'm learning. Just leave me be. And so then I got home and I'm like, well, how am I going to do a pendulum? And I asked the guy, I'm like, what would you do to make a pendulum out of this? And he goes, if you have a really good drill and a very sharp drill, you could drill a hole through it. He goes, but you have to be really careful because it will shatter on you if you don't do it slowly and very carefully, and maybe use water to cool it down. And so, and he really knew what he was talking about. And I said, and I know I'm an artist and I know all these little gimmicks about cooling it down and all that. I'm like, well, that makes sense. And then I come home and my phone was dead, so I had to run and go get a charger for my phone because I couldn't find a cord. You know how we can never find our cords. And on the cord, wrapped up on the cord, was this little white rubber band that you guys could barely see here. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Was holding the cord together. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to put that around my crystal, and then I'm going to use dental floss to use for the string, and I'm going to make it my little pendulum. So here's my little pendulum with my little rubber
I
band
love it. That's
dental floss.
awesome. I love it. Yay.
Yay. I know. Isn't it great? I'm so excited to find out more and how to use it more, but it's just like, and I've been doing this. It's like so cool because you feel it. I mean, I feel it. It's like when I wake up when I wake up in the morning and I open up my desktop like this and I start to work, the first thing I do is I grab my crystal and I go across my keyboard and I go across my screen and I'm doing this, and Serge is looking at me going, what the fuck's got into
Yeah,
him?
it's like,
Yeah, and doing all exactly like just that whole thing, and it's just like
yeah.
I'm just like going, I'm gonna be Pam for a day, and like so now I have so now and then it's funny because I made it where it does just hang on this light that goes right above my computer, so I just kind of like, okay, so we can just move it aside, and it's always with me, and the energy's always emitting positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love
that's
it.
our introduction to our energy today. So with Pam here and Jenny here, because Jenny talks about energy and the way she uses it, and she's learned to use it from you and others and all that, and she goes to it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so it's like it just seemed like such a perfect thing to talk about, and I'm so happy that you were able to join us tonight, Jenny. Thank you for at the last minute me saying, hey, do you want to join us, because I know Pam enjoys you being with us.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to have another person here just to bounce off thoughts and experiences and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I've
Michael,
kind of
I
like,
think you should start every single webinar that you have with a visual that I had at the beginning before you went live.
oh, you think so?
Uh-huh.
Should I use
Could be a
different
great
objects?
topic of conversation.
Should I use different objects, or should I use the same kind of object?
Just that one.
Just
right
this
in
one.
their face.
Just leave this one like right
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Michael. Welcome to my beautiful, magical, positive experience that you're going to have today. We don't know how exciting it's going to be for you, but it's going to be. Oh my God. Yeah. So energy. So let's dive into energy. So Pam, kick us off. Tell us about energy.
Well, at the most fundamental level, everything is made of energy. From the chair you're sitting on, to the desk, to the food that you eat, to your bodies, to the space around you. It's all about energy. And even in what they call the ether or the quantum field that is invisible, it's not empty. It is full of energy. It's full of information. So we live in an energetic environment. Some people are super, super sensitive and they can pick up on different frequencies, vibrations, um, moods. Like you walk into a room and everyone's happy and celebrating, and it's just a really light, joyful energy versus walking into like the dentist office or something, and you're like, ugh. It's like,
The dentist office.
I don't want to be here. It's a total different energy, right? So I think when we can realize that everything at the most fundamental level is energetic, and we are energetic beings, it shifts everything. It just teaches you to look at things differently, to think about life experiences, things that happen to you, things that you put in your body, things that you put on your body, attitudes, beliefs. I mean, it's all frequencies, basically. emotions, what have
Well,
you.
well, and I have to say this since I've met you through Jenny, and we've had all these conversations about energy and different things, and me talking to Jenny and her sharing how she uses it and what she's learned to use it for and all that. I've always been and I always say we have a physical body and we have a spiritual body, which is all energy, and those two need to be in alignment. And when you're in alignment, your life can just be really just, you
You're
just follow
flowing.
it.
Yeah, it's a
You're
flow.
flowing, right?
Hmm.
And so that's always been kind of my philosophy in life. But since we've been hanging out together, and this is part of the magic of what we do in the world, is like we get to meet people, we get to expand our own universe, even when we think, what can we expand in this area? We don't, we think, oh, we've expanded everything. No, we haven't. There's endless expansion in the universe for us. As
Hmm.
long as we're open to it, we can learn something every single day, something new about something that we already thought we knew everything about.
Yep.
Where the ego comes in, oh, we know everything. We don't know everything, right? But
Hmm.
since I've been hanging out with you ladies and it's, talking to both of you, it's like one of the things I've noticed is like, even it's, because I've got this hip injury and it's been really consuming a lot of my time mentally, physically, emotionally, just it was through my whole day. And then finally one day I sat there through everything that we've been talking about is I'm like, you know what, Michael, let's shift that energy in your hip. Let's quit putting so much attention to that hip. It's there no matter what. It's going to get fixed eventually or whatever is going to happen with it, right? But
Hmm.
why am I allowing that negative energy that's sitting there take away from me so much? And by just listening to myself say that and do this and practice this, I'm finding that I'm not as bothered by my hip. I know that it's there. It's not taking up my time. It's not taking up extra space in my head. And it's there when it's, and it's like, it really makes a difference when you really start to focus.
Hmm. Well, there is the reality that whatever you focus on is where your energy goes.
Hmm.
So if you want to focus on something like pain, you're going to just keep attracting more pain. It's going to become more and more aware and probably grow because we're putting energy into it. So therefore, that's what we get more of. So that's just something to keep in mind. So wherever wherever your attention goes is where your energy flows.
Right. And then that's what we always say, the universe is there and we attract from the universe what we we put our attention to, and that's where, Jenny and I talk about this a lot about pivoting, what's going on in my life, what don't I like right now, what do I want different, and we look at what we want different and we pivot and we start to focus on that, and you'll start to bring that back into your life more than, because humans, I think we're like so wired to always look at the negative and always harp on the negative and why is the negative there? Why is this happening? Poor me. Oh, woe's me. And next thing you know, you're not only doing that, but you find a committee of people and friends that are exactly alike, and they start to do that. And and I call it the playground, like in a school, is before you know it, you're in the corner of a playground with a bunch of people that have the same energy, and it's all kind of like really negative sometimes. It's because they're all feeding off of everybody's negative energy instead of like saying, well, what do we want to do with this energy? Like if it was a bunch of, like, let's say kids that are dating these guys and these guys are all bullies and jocks, maybe they're like, well, maybe we need to start dating the geeky guys and whatever and pivot. They may have a better life at the end of the day because they've focused and they've attracted that positive energy. So yeah, I totally agree with this. And it's just like, for me, it's you guys, and I just want to say thank you to both of you because you both have, without even realizing, has impacted my life in just a magical way once again, just by
Mhm.
us hanging out together. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, Michael, your story about the hip thing um, actually just put something into perspective for me, or a reminder. Rags was the cat I grew up with, and the reason that I founded Floppy Cats. And he was diagnosed with lymphoma at 15. He died at 19 and a half. But he went at that time because of I was more conventionally educated. He did chemo and all that kind of stuff. So after his 3 surgeries and the chemo and everything, I finally had one of my very, very first animal communication sessions. And sorry, today menopause is really kicking my cognitive abilities, so just bear with me. And he he said, I want to know what's wrong with me. And we told him, you had a tumor in your liver. And then I was like, why does he want to know that? And his response was, so I don't send energy there.
Wow.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So that just confirms like what you just said. And the other thing is my uncle had cancer on his neck, and he's been in remission for years and years and years. And I asked him, did you think about your cancer every day when you had it? And he's like, no. Why would I do that? And I'm like, because I would do that. That's why I wanted to know. But he was like, no, I mean, why waste, my time and energy on that? I'm like, yes. Why need to learn? So yes, it does have a lot of value.
Yeah, I think we talked about this during one of the sessions about my sister and about pivoting my sister into, hey, Debbie, I was on this hike, or I was thinking about this hike, and it changes her energy. And now every time she calls me, she's usually in a very high vibration, and she doesn't even realize why she's in the high vibration, but she just knows that when she calls me, we get high,
Yes.
high on vibrate on energy. And so it's just like, it's so true. And it's like, and that's why, and I'm glad that you even brought that up, is because like, yeah, my hip was consuming me, and it's been consuming me since I was attacked. And it's like, and part of it's part of the frustrations with the doctors, and the doctors aren't there, and I'm trying to find the right doc, and I was giving it so much, and I'm like, I stopped, probably like this last couple of weeks, and I was like, where my, all my energy is going right to my hip. Let's pull that away from that. That's not fair to myself, to the rest of my body. It's not fair to Serge. It's not fair to my friends. It's like, I've even learned now, to not even talk about my hip. I mean, it's like I had friends, because like, your friends always ask you, oh, hi, how are you doing? And, and when it hurts, and I'm like, it's and then because they're my friends, I'm like, I unload on them, and I'm like, Michael, will you stop unloading on people? Jesus, you're doing exactly what your sister does, and I'm like, yeah, so go on, Pam.
I was just going to say, I remember years ago, probably I was in high school or something, and we would have our family Christmas gathering, and, aunts and uncles and cousins and whatever would come over. And I just remember sitting at one of those, whatever the gathering was at the time, and all of the parents were sitting in the living room talking about their ailments. Woe is me, I have this doctor's appointment and this and this and this. And I thought to myself, well, how miserable is that? I don't want to sit around and talk about ailments, because every time you saw them, it was like worse. It's like,
Well,
and I
Johnny,
don't even think they were aware, like, you're putting more energy into your ailments, and you're going to just keep getting more ailments. And I didn't know these concepts 30 years ago or whatever it was. You know what I mean? And then now I look back and I thought, and I'm thinking, gosh, they could have shifted that whole conversation. And now when I go to these kinds of family gatherings and things like that, I tend to stay away from any conversation that is about that kind of talk, because I don't want to give it life.
why? Yeah, why?
Like, let's
Right?
talk about something fun and happy and exciting, and let's not focus on our problems, because you're just going to get more of them. That's the
And that's
reality.
the truth. You just get more and more and more.
Yeah.
There's a couple questions. I want to grab the questions while they come up and continue our conversations about how it pulls it into our pets and all that. But Delta, is it
Delft Blue.
Delph Blue? Do photos of our cats carry their energies even after their pass? What do you think, Pam?
Absolutely, because you have to remember, energy can't be destroyed, it can only be changed. So when your pet passes, transitions, it's transitioning to a different state of energy. It doesn't die. There's no such thing as death. The meat suit that we wears out, but your soul, which is your energetic source in you, just transitions and moves to a different phase, a different state of being. So yes, your pets you can still connect with their energy, even in spirit. They are very much alive and well, just in a different vibrational frequency. They are in a different realm that we in our 3D physical form cannot match. So we can't see them the way they are now. But yes, their energy is still there. And like even Jenny's very familiar with this. Animal communicators can talk to pets in spirit just as easily as they can talk to a cat that's still living. It's all about connecting with their energy field, really, their soul.
Yeah, and it's I really love this topic because it's like what we're talking about is like, and for everybody that's in the room, and Amanda, I'm going to get to your message here in a second, is that we can enjoy our life so much more just by waking up and pivoting our energy in the morning. Do you do anything to I know we talked about that you do maybe some yoga in the morning or meditation in the morning with your cats. Pam, Jenny, do you do anything in the morning when you get going besides chase fleas?
No, and don't bring that up because we are flea free. So no
Yay!
energy towards that shit. No. Um,
Oh no, I just brought in that energy.
So
Oh, she's
no, it's blocked.
gone.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay! Yeah. So you don't do, so when you wake up, you just start your day and you go like me.
Well, so I was in a habit of getting on a vibration machine. Um,
like a rice.
you said your phallic thing earlier. It sounds very phallic, but it's not. It's supposed to help with your lymphatic system.
Mhm.
And I find that like I can stretch and it opens everything up. But I stopped using it because I didn't want to hatch like flea eggs or flea larvae. So I haven't used it for like a month and a half. And I got on it finally yesterday and I was like, I miss this. So that's the one thing that I definitely try to do. I try to do it before I go to bed too.
You're not talking like you don't have one of those machines where you hold on to it and you stand on the thing and the pad does this. Is that what you're
It
talking?
is a pad. I don't have like a handle. You balance yourself.
Okay.
Kind of rad. Like if you bend your knees a little bit, you're like, wow, your knees really can take a lot of impact, like and vibration out of you. Because like my upper body shakes if my knees are straight, but if my knees are bent, my upper body doesn't shake.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It helps my dad a lot with his neuropathy. So
Mhm.
Isn't that funny how we do things and we forget that we do them and then we drift away from them and then all of a sudden like you just went back to it the other day and you're like, wow, this is rad. Why haven't I done this for a while? That we forget about these things because we get moving so fast. Do you think you'll be like putting it on your schedule to maybe try to do it more often?
yes, I want to go back to it every day. Like literally the only reason I stopped was fear that I would hatch more eggs.
You're so cute. I love that. I wanted to bring this up because when Amanda, one of my moderators, when I went through cancer, I wouldn't let myself be a victim to and be a cancer patient. I was a warrior only through about being strong and laughter, and it worked. And I believe that is so true. So many times, so many people, they let something take them out because they focus on it so much.
Mhm.
And I don't even mean like take you out, like kill you, but I mean take you out just emotionally, just take you out from being present of the moment with the people that you're with, just everything. And it's just like, I have this, and Amanda, I don't know if we've talked about this, but I have this condition. It's called polycythemia secondary. And it's a condition where my body, and maybe there's something else I could energy wise I can work on with this. I love this. Where my body makes too many red blood cells. And so every 2 to 3 months I go in, I have to get a blood test once a month just to see where my red blood count is, because if it gets too thick, my blood becomes like mud.
Mm.
And it moves really, really slow, and it can't carry the oxygen well to the rest of my body. And
Right.
so there's a whole, and thank God there's stuff they could do about it. But so I go in and I do like a phlebotomy, and that's where they'll drain my blood and they'll take away at least minimum a pint, sometimes a little more depending on how thick it is to thin it out. There's downsides too because it does take out all the other good stuff inside your blood at the same time. So it's like I try to be real crucial about that balancing, but it's like when it first happened to me, I was like, "Oh my God, what the hell is this? It's the end of the world. Oh, what I have to go to, and I sat there and I'd go to a department where, people would be inside this big department here at UCLA and they'd be getting chemo, they'd be doing phlebotomies, they'd be doing transfusions and all that. And we'd all be in our little boxes, with our arms hooked up. And I would just look. And it was like the one thing I really, really loved about that time for myself was that I was able to spend that time and read a book or just put it into a positive space and just learn something. And I looked around at the people that were there and it was like so beautiful to see because there was very few people there that was like, woe is me. They were there like not even focusing on why they were there. They were talking about their kids. They were talking about their grandkids, what they're going to be doing for their next vacation. So it really shows you that we can do a lot if we put our mind in the right place, for ourselves. And look, we're talking about energy and look who's on what's her name again?
This one's Breeze.
Breeze. Right. Okay. I'm trying to get used to the callers, or something. Breeze. She's happy today. Look at her.
I have the back door cracked open, and I think the dog, I don't know, she's acting worried. So maybe the dogs and the neighbor's dogs are out. I don't know. So she's inside instead of outside.
So she's on guard right now. Is that what it is?
Yeah, she's a little on edge. So she comes to me for reassurance, like, Mama, look, there's something bad out there.
There's something bad out there. They've got 4 legs like me and they're
barking. No, there was a bunny in the backyard earlier, and I'm like, you can't go outside with the bunny out there. When the yard was clear, then I let them back out. So yeah, I protect my little bunnies. They're so precious.
It is the worst when a bunny makes a nest in your yard.
I haven't had that happen yet, but I've heard.
Well, walk your yard every day right now and fill up the holes if you find one before they put the babies in.
They tend to go hide underneath my deck. So I mean, there's little openings that are. It's so funny. You can tell someone's been digging. There's this little divot, and they can just go under. And I've seen them go under in different places, and so it wouldn't surprise me if there was probably a bunny nest under my deck somewhere. But I'm always out there. Hi, Jay Kennedy, always checking the yard every day and making sure that it's all clear.
And why do you say so they dig holes and they have babies inside the holes? What's the danger of that? When you say be careful about that, what is it? Fleas?
Well, yes, but that's not what I was talking about.
The cats think it's a prey or toy, so they'll go after them when they run, and they're so fragile. I mean, all they have to do is pick them up wrong and their neck breaks or something. It's just
they don't completely kill them and then you do the deed or you need to take them to a wildlife thing. It's just no.
We don't want
They're so fragile. I have rescued some in the past, but they were like this big, like babies, like size of my hand. Very small. And so precious, so precious.
So precious.
They're so I have a friend who actually raises them and sells them.
Oh.
And he just did it because he had 2 boys himself, and so they loved the bunnies, so they got a couple, and then of course they had babies, and and then they couldn't get rid of, they're like, we want more, and then he's like, no more, and then finally their friends found out that they had these babies, and he started selling them, and I guess they were a special type of bunny, and they were like expensive.
Yeah.
I was like, who knew that you'd be in the bunny department?
The bunny biz.
The bunny bits, right? Exactly. So, okay, so I did print out 6 questions here. Why does energy in our environment matter so much for our cat's health?
Because we are energetic beings, they are energetic beings, and so whatever energy we are putting out is going to affect their energy field. From a scientific perspective, it's the law of quantum entanglement, because that happens because your energy fields merge and cross over with each other. So whatever is affecting you and your energy field is going to affect anything else in your energy field, and vice versa. So if you have a really sick cat and they're not feeling good, then they can pick up on your worry and stress and things like that. And it's not uncommon for pets to mirror the same diseases or illnesses that the owners have, and vice versa. And part of that is just because of that quantum entanglement. It's their energy field crossing over.
Their energy. Do you ever find that um, the energy actually goes from the cat to the parent and back to the cat? Do you ever make that identification when you meet someone? They're like, my cat's really depressed, da da da, and all of a sudden you look at the owner, you're like going, there's like they're bouncing the energy, they're mirroring it back and forth.
Well, I would think that's valid, yeah, because again, their energy is always crossing is always connected. They're in the same energy field. Our energy field, like by ourselves, is about 6 feet out. It's your art field around you. And so anything that comes into your energy field it can affect you and you can affect them.
I think, and also, Pam, it goes beyond that, or it can.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 10-year-old nephew. His name is Ryder, and I was talking to my younger brother about energy, which is his father, and he's like, "What's energy, Aunt Jenny?" And I was like, how do I explain this to a 10-year-old?
Right.
And I was like, well, when your dad's in a really good mood and like goofing around and stuff, he's fun to be in. Like, and that's that energy field that's expanded and you can feel it. Whereas, if he's in a really bad mood, you don't want to be around him. You're like, oh God, don't run into dad.
Yeah.
So what I meant by I think it can be expanded from that is this morning I had a really bad morning. I'm allowing myself to have had a bad morning. I reached out to a couple of friends, sharing my frustrations and irritations. And then I was like, what are you doing? You are sharing that awful energy with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they have a choice whether or not to accept that or receive that. But I'm like, you're spreading that nastiness wherever you're going right now. Stop it. So I think, and also like one thing that always like I can always relate to, and I don't know if this has the same effect with you guys, but whenever they have those like military reunite like videos,
Yes.
I like burst into tears every time. Like you can feel the energy fields of those two beings like coming together, whether it's a father and son or husband and wife that haven't seen each other for 6 months and they like run up to each other. Like that's the kind of good energy everybody I think can relate to. And that to me shows how energy fields, even after that event has already occurred, it still has an effect on me.
Well, yeah, because you're watching it right there. And so
Yeah.
that frequency is coming through your phone or your device or whatever you're watching it from. And again, emotions are simply frequencies at the most fundamental level. And so we respond because we are energetic beings. We respond to frequencies. We can get like this is how crazy it is. Like I would cry at the commercials at Christmas time, whatever. I was just like, what? I'm so sensitive. I'm such an empathic person. Like there's certain places I just don't even want to go because I know I'm gonna just. It's like being a Jenny. You're probably like this. We're sponge, and we just feel all of the energies, good, bad, highs, lows, whatever, and it can be very oppressive. It can weigh on you if you are very empathic. Yeah, it's like I can go to a funeral of a complete stranger and have a total meltdown. I don't even know this person. And I realized what was happening is because I am picking up on all the grief and sorrow and sadness that everyone around me is feeling. And I am just covered with it. And so my body on an energetic level is responding the same way, even though it's like, I don't even have a connection to this person. You know, why am I a basket case? I don't like to go to funerals because of that reason. It's just like I can't stop. The faucet does not have an off switch. It's terrible. I cried through my grandfather's entire funeral. I literally could not. I couldn't even stop crying through my sister's wedding. I was a maid of honor. I stop. It was terrible. It's like I have no off switch to that. It was just, you know, I just, yeah, empathetic. Uh,
Uh,
it's embarrassing. I'm like, I don't even know where I cry.
what you're crying for, when you talk about the weddings and all that, it makes me laugh because I think I shared last time or a couple shows ago where I was talking about that glass cathedral that they're saving here in Pacific Palisades. That's falling, because of the earth that's moving. They're taking it piece by piece apart. I went there one time for a wedding and I was running late, because it's not easy to get to, but I made it there. And it's a cute story. And so I'm sitting there and of course I'm listening to the vows, them exchanging their words. And it's that time now where people write their own. It wasn't like everybody had the same vows all the time that you just
Right.
heard all the time, and they get really touching, and I'm sitting there and I'm like tearing up and I'm like going, and then I started looking around the room and I'm like going, God, this is strange. I don't even think I know a person here. That's odd that I don't know anyone here. I ended up at someone else's wedding.
Whoopsies.
I was actually early and not late.
You were wedding crashing.
I
You
was
were
wedding
wedding
crashing and I was wedding tear crashing, But yeah, no. But yeah, no, it is interesting how when we are around people that we can feel their energy and we can mirror their energy. When you what would you say was like, have you ever had a case where someone's come to you and they're just like, I don't know what to do with my cat. She's just in this horrible mood. Have you ever like really had to break down the energy and really, I mean, have you ever seen something so difficult that was a struggle? It was a hard case for you. And can you explain how you got through it? As
Yeah,
she looks,
sorry. Monitoring the cat, like who's coming in the back door. That's what I need to know.
okay.
Um, I find in some cases, and Jenny can attest to this because you know which group I'm referring to online, Facebook. They are so overwhelmed and stuck in fear, they can't move out of it. So, offering you can sit there and talk to your blue in the face with all these great suggestions and ideas, but they are so stuck in fear that they are just paralyzed. They can't move forward. And they're too afraid to try something different because they're afraid of making things worse. But the reality is they're on such a hamster wheel now, and what they're doing is not helping the situation. They're just perpetuating the same cycle. You know what I mean? And it breaks my heart because I'm like, I know we could help. We could do some wonderful things, but you have to get out of your head first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually told somebody, it's like, you need to get into a better headspace because right now you're so overwhelmed and consumed with sadness and grief that you can't even make a decision, and that's not a good place to be. And it's certainly not an empowering place to be. So um, that's where people get stuck.
Well, and that's where I go back to the whole, like, looking at the playground, what part of the playground do you want to play in? And there are cliques, just like when we grew up in school and all that, there's cliques and, each one of those cliques have its own source of energy and their own type of energy. And sometimes it's like, with the sports people, sports and it's great energy and it's all about sports. And then if it's cheer, it's like, so everybody has their own little cliques, but then there's those, like you said, there's those cliques that it's like, they're almost meant to be. together because they feed off of each other.
Oh
And
yeah, they match energy. It's the
they
same energy. They're on the same vibrational frequency. They're on the same vibrational level. Um, it's interesting. In high school, I was not in a clique. I was kind of almost. I had like 2 or 3 friends. I was not one of those people that had a ton of friends and was all involved in all different groups. I was more of the independent thinker. I'll do my own thing, and I don't need everyone's approval to to do whatever. And I think that has served me well because I have discovered since then that I am I'm a Sagittarius. I'm an independent thinker. I question and I don't follow the crowd. I make my own decisions and I ask why a lot. Um, I'm more of a leader instead of a follower, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So I don't get sucked into all of the, I can see it. I can see it like it is black and white. It's like, oh, I know what that is all about. And I don't want that.
yeah, yeah. You were talking earlier about Jenny. You were talking about a consult with a communicator, and I've actually worked with a couple myself on my channel, and one was Liz. I don't know. Do you guys know Liz by chance?
Mm-mm.
She's an
What's
animal
Liz's last name?
I don't know her last name. I should, but I don't. She's here in Los Angeles, and we've spoke about what we would do, and this is when the days of Clubhouse, when we didn't have video on Clubhouse, we just had pictures, and so like you would have your picture, I'd have my picture, Jenny would have her picture, and we'd just see pictures and a bunch of pictures underneath, like we see the pictures over in the comments to our right, and so she would have people change their picture out to their pet picture so that when she started to talk about that person's pet and feel their energy, she was able to tap into the pet through the picture, which
Yeah.
I found amazing. But she was able to do it, and she was able to do it so precisely sometimes. And and like there's one person here, it says right here, this was for you. It says, Amanda, you can consult. Oh, so they were saying, Amanda, you can, an animal communicator. I lost one of mine last year after 14 and a half years, and Charlie's doing a lot better, but it helped from an animal communicator to the homeopathic. What's that?
Have Pam say it.
Yeah, Pam, say it. You're good at these words.
Ignatia.
Ignatia, explain that to me.
It's just a homeopathic remedy.
Oh, okay.
For
Yeah.
grief. For grief.
It's very good for grief. That's one of the main indications.
For grief. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, it was amazing that when she got on and she started talking about the animal that had passed or is about to pass or transition, it was amazing. And then by the time we got off, the pet parent was in such a better space, just knowing that the pet was okay. And it's, we have a tendency to maybe throw energy on our pets that don't even belong to our pets. Maybe it's a reflection of where we're feeling internally or whatever. And maybe that's the case. So talking about energy, and we've talked about, like I got my crystal this weekend and all that. What are the modalities that you work with for moving energy with pets?
There's several different things that people can do. I mean, I use a modality called mind body spirit release, which is a specific energetic modality practice, certification, et cetera, et cetera. So, but it is all about energy clearing work and muscle testing and things like that. But for just regular people who want to help support and shift energy, I tend to use a lot of color therapy, and I know Jenny loves this too because it's always fun to see what color Charlie's going to select today. Color therapy is all about vibrational frequency. It's not about the pets being able to see the colors because cats are limited in the actual colors they can see, but they can feel the energy of those colors, and those colors can support them emotionally, physically, spiritually, and help raise their vibration and help healing. So, different colors support different things. And you can think of it also in terms of like the chakra colors. If you think about For example, if a cat who is fearful and scared all the time, they probably have a very blocked root chakra, and that root chakra color is red. So how do we support them? We get something red. We put it out and let them go. So choose to sit on it, sit near it, whatever, and it actually supports their root chakra and helps them feel more secure and safe. So that's an example of how color therapy works. Um, for like Charlie, for example, when he was having a lot of tummy issues and things like that, she'd find him on the color yellow, and that's supporting his solar plexus chakra, which supports the stomach and the digestive system. So it's always interesting to see what kind of mood he's in and how he's feeling, by what color he goes and sleeps on. Like when my kitties get all nervous from the birds outside dive bombing them or the dogs barking over the fence or whatever, they'll come sit on the purple blanket that's on the sofa. And so I always know, I was like, oh, okay, well, hello, Gunner. Um, Purple is great for anxiety and nervousness, and it's also crown chakra,
Yep.
people,
Yep.
So like for super intuitive spiritual connection, that can be very important color. But just from emotional side, just anxiety and nervousness, it helps support them and helps them feel more secure and comforted. So it's just interesting. I can just look at them and go, okay, I know how you need support right now. What color you're sitting on, the purple or the brown or nothing.
Or white or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's the same thing like inside of design when we're designing a house or we're designing, a bedroom for a kid or,
Mhm.
you know, feng shui. You've heard that before, feng shui about the
Yeah.
layout of furniture, the layout of the light, the windows. Does a room have a window? Why doesn't
Yeah.
it have a window? Where should the window? There's all these different things, and so each color does have a reason behind it, and that's actually something that's really good for everybody that's in the room with us today is like, if you're in a mood and you don't know, you're kind of maybe even stuck in that mood, you may even want to like just Google different colors, and moods and energy and see what
Mhm.
they mean. And, perhaps you may need to go grab a purple blanket or a yellow blanket and just wrap yourself in it for a few hours and help release the energy that you are having and replace it with the energy that color is bringing to you, because it does make a difference. I mean, it's pretty amazing when I've designed a house and I've gone in and it's, people go through these phases. It's, back in the 80s, it was like everybody was doing that burgundy wine color in their house. And I mean, it was like, I try to break away from the decor of design. I'm not a decorator. I'm a designer. And it's like, and I always say there's a difference between designers and decorators. And decorators go to school to learn to put green and green together, where designers actually learn how spaces work.
Mm.
We really learn how the energy of the spaces or the doorway. It's like I could look at a floor plan and see that, if they move this wall 3 inches this way, they could get the right size sofa in, and if they don't, they're going to end up with this really tiny. It's crazy how one looks at things differently than the other, but seriously, colors mean a big. It impacts our life.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
if you think about someone who is in a grumpy, bad mood all the time, and they're sitting in their office with the lights off and it's a dark place. Well, that's gloomy, right? That's only feeding their gloom and misery or their bad mood. But if you open the blinds and you let the sunlight in and you open the window and you let the fresh air, it's like you bring light into that space. It is uplifting. If you wear a color like yellow or orange, it's more happy, it's cheerful. If you're going for a job interview and you need to feel more confident, you put on a red suit or red jacket or a red tie or something that's more power color. There's a lot of science behind it. It's really, really fascinating, but it's easy to do and you don't have to spend a lot of money. I tell people, do you have a washcloth? Do you have a shirt hanging in your closet? Do you have a ball cap? Do you have a banana? I mean, it doesn't really require a lot of thought. Just go find a color and just put it down.
Do you have a banana?
Do you have? Where is your mind? Is that hot flash really getting to you today? What is going on with you, young lady?
I didn't think of it that way.
Oh, whatever.
I did put a link to Instagram in the private chat. I don't know if you can share that, but it shows Charlie choosing yellow.
No, so cool.
So when Pam first worked on my cats, her first recommendation was yellow, and I was like, "What on earth?" And I was like, "You know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just stick it on the bed." And I kid you not, 2 hours later, one of them was on the yellow, and I was like, "What the fuck? What in the world?" And so, of course, like I text Pam, I'm like, "I can't believe this, but they're on the yellow."
Yep.
So it's pretty
And
rad.
yellow is your favorite color, so yellow's all over your house, which is great.
Yes, yes. Michael, did you get that or no?
Well, I was like, I think I got stuck because I started picturing Pam telling you about using different colors, and you put these different colors down, and lo and behold, they all were attracted to the yellow blanket. Is that what I got out of that?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna try to share. Can you guys see that?
Here, let me
You
go.
have to, you have to click present.
I did.
Give it a second. It might
There it
take
is.
There.
Okay.
Yep, there he is.
So this is what I do. I mean, he's limited because he doesn't get blue and no pink. There's pink on my other bed, but you know, I have towels on all my bed because of fleas. If I can, you know, just pull off the towels and wash them, then it saves me a lot of time rather than washing an entire bed. So this is what I do. And literally, like last night, he was on purple. And as Pam was saying, it really helps give you an idea of what's going on with him, that he's chosen it. And I don't always put purple, you know, on the left front corner. I'll put it, you know, I don't even try.
Right.
I just throw it on there wherever it works. So it's awesome. Like he goes on every single color.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fun. You guys in the chat, that's a fun homework assignment for you guys.
Yeah.
Is, you know, grab some t-shirts of different colors and with your pets and see, you know, see what they end up doing. Wow, that's I love that. You see, you're like so cool by doing these things. I love it. So you really, I mean, that's one thing I've really learned to love about Jenny is the fact that she takes what she learns from everybody and she really puts it to use.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's like, because she keeps, you know, we're talking about, you know, and I Googled, just so you know, is like, you know, on your question about, you know, herbs and fleas and all that, and, you know, and I've talked to Dr. Kyle about them, and he's like, it's not internal. It's not what we do. We don't do that. Da 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 da. So I did a little research myself with Eastern herbs and fleas and all that. So that's why I want to talk to you about it, because there are some things that it says that we could potentially do this or that or something like that. So I think together maybe we should try one of these things and see how it works. And we never know, you know.
Never know.
You know, because I could always get, you know, because like in order for us to get the herbs, I'll have to have, you know, Kyle to order them for us, because the herbs we get are like nothing but quality. You can buy a bunch of junk off the internet, but you really want to get the best stuff. So we'll work together on that, and we'll see what we come up with, because maybe we'll come up with something that, you know, other people can learn from and actually use, because, you know, that is such a big issue. And we are heading in that direction right now. I just know that, you know, we're going to hear more and more of it. So if we could find something that's more organic and holistic for it, I love it. So I'm down for the challenge, you know?
Yeah. Well, because energy wise, like I had an interview with a holistic vet last week that I was like, you know, I'm starting to wonder if it is that like Charlie has AB blood. Most cats have A blood. Some have B, and then some have AB. And I'm like, I'm starting to wonder if it's an AB blood thing that makes him so attractive. But then a friend of mine found out that like Dr. Steve Marsden referred someone to harmonize the chi, which brings the blood away from the skin back in. And so then it's the pet isn't as attractive. So yeah, I think it is possible.
Well, you know, it's like, I love the way you're talking, because like, you know, people here when we, you know, when I talk about Chinese herbs, or I talk about different modalities of different energy, or magnets or whatever it might be. People, there's so many people that are so stuck in their paradigm of yesterday that they're like, "What Chinese herbs?" And then they do all this stuff all the time. But
Mhm.
it is amazing how this really all really works together. I mean, our universe is energy, so why wouldn't it? Why? We're energy, everything. So why wouldn't all this makes sense? It's just being at the forefront and really taking the time and discovering on how it works and actually doing it to do the work to make it work. It's like it wasn't until Kyle saw his brother's dog in 2016 with allergies that he thought about doing Eastern medicine for pets.
Mhm.
It was just one of those things. He saw his brother's dog miserable and he was like, "Oh my God, what can we do? Let me just go ahead and make something up for you." He
Yeah.
he tried it. Let's try it. And it worked. And he tried another one and he tried another one and it worked. And then that was when he realized, after going back into school about pets, and he started studying Eastern medicine for pets, he was like, "God, they've been using it for pets." I thought they were just, we're always focused on Eastern herbs for people, but no, the Chinese have been doing it for their livestock. They were doing it for their livestock to keep their livestock healthy through, through that, period of before they go to the slaughterhouse. I hate to say that, but they do that. And it was like, so why should we stop at humans when it can work for pets? So yeah, so it's, someone has to come up with the idea and actually do it, and fail or succeed or whatever it is. And it's like what we've done here with our herbs. It's just it. At first I was just like, I mean, I looked at so many people and I met with so many people before I met Kyle. It took me probably, I want to say, a good 10 years before I met Kyle, before I even knew what he was up to. And I had met so many people that were using different types of herbs with different types of oils and all that. And a lot of it at the time for me, and I'll be honest, a lot of it was a little hocus pocus to me. I'm like, what? Nah, really? Nah. But there was a couple of people that I got close to that, we were really starting to talk about a relationship to do something for pets that was natural, but it just wasn't, nothing really just clicked. Like once I met Kyle and I understood, because I knew of Eastern medicine, but I just didn't understand it, if that makes sense. I've heard of it. I grew up with it. You hear of it in the background all over the place, but I had never participated in it. And so when he started talking about it and he started sharing what the results were, I was like going, wow, I never even thought about Eastern medicine for pets. So, well, let's take a look at this idea.
Mhm.
And once we started digging into it, and all of a sudden realized how incredibly it works. I mean, it's just, to me, even like today, I sit here and I just go, I just can't believe what we've discovered with this and created with our formulas. And it's just like the it's just it's pretty cool to be on this side of something that's new to the industry, that's making a difference.
Mhm.
And it was like, I had no idea that this was what it was going to be. And I'm like, I'm so excited that it is what it is. I'm excited that it's Eastern Chinese medicine. How beautiful that is. For me, it's like, here we've taken something that's been studied for thousands and hundreds, or,
Thousands of years
about
for sure.
forever. They've been doing this forever. And all of a sudden we're able to take advantage of all that knowledge and actually bring it to a different segment of the world, pets. And it's pretty beautiful. It's pretty beautiful. I mean, I get like, I just got teary eyed just over thinking about it, but it's like, it's pretty cool when we do this. And so when we're talking about, magnets, or we're talking about stones, or, whatever it might be about energy, it's like, this stuff works, you guys. And there's a better way to do this with your pets, and it's not, and we're not saying, it's like a lot of people like think, I mean, like like myself, it's like, I think, oh my God, now that I know this, I have to go do this with everybody. I have to tell everybody they have to do it this way. I have to even pull myself back and say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So let them find their way, make the suggestion, let them know that the possibility is out there, and, and hopefully they can make their own decision. and using something other than what we've learned through our whole life from our parents and our paradigms, like you guys say, is what we've learned from our paradigms.
Yeah.
Michael, one question that I think you asked Pam about, like, how do you change energy flow in the body? And one of the things that I use is a red light to move energy through for Charlie. But I also think that products like yours help move things and then readjust that energy.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, each herb has its own energy. And
Yes.
it's interesting. It's like right now it's like because we're like in the middle of allergy season. I have bronchial asthma, so I have to be careful about, taking care of myself. And one of the herbs that I take right now is a hot herb. It's heat. And that's even interesting that we have
It seems
cold.
like counterintuitive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it
like,
keeps the bronchioles open because it's hot, right?
well,
It
it
has so much
dries it up.
circulation.
It
Oh,
it
it dries
dries up it keeps you dry. Where with bronchial asthma, it's like
it all wet.
if you get
It's
dampness in your lungs, that's when you could get infected, and you could get a cold in your
yeah,
chest real easily and all that. And so the hot herbs actually keep it dry,
nice.
and it's really interesting, and Serge is like, he's making me take them 3 times a day. He's got this bowl of herbs, like, pills in the morning for me. And I'm like, yuck, I don't want to take these right now, but I just know that they're so good for me
Mm-hmm.
that I take them. And
Yeah.
it makes a big difference. And it's, and one of the things I want to say to you, Jenny, about, the longevity is like, how it affects Charlie, he kind of crashes and all that. I do the same thing. And what it is it's part of our body repairing itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. That's exactly how I think of it. And I get pumped about that.
And it's like, and I can't, and I'm like, God, I'm sleeping a lot because I'm like,
Yeah. Your body's in repair mode.
it's in repair mode. And once again, I go back to Dr. Judy. Since I had her on the live, and we were talking about food and changing our diet. We've really dug into changing our diet and really, and we're a couple gay boys, and we're like, oh, this is the newest thing. Let's go ahead and we're gonna dive deep into it, and we're gonna own it, And so, like, we're reading the labels inside the store now. I feel like an old married couple, I'm like, where's my glasses? But it's like, it's really interesting to really be able to dive into this right now and be able to do it completely. And we're lucky because we have the benefit of having the herbs right at our hands,
Mm-hmm.
so we're able just to grab this one or this one and, and make, and Serge has been taking his herbs. He's actually now taking our EAT formula for his GI system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and he never thought his GI system was off or anything like that. But he's like, oh my God, Michael, he goes, my bowel movements are completely different. He's like, my, everything's changing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's just from an herb,
Yeah.
So it's like when we're talking about like energy is like around all of us. And so we have a choice to be around what energy we want to be around. But it's like we get the opportunity to just not even change it for our pets, but we get to change it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's another thing that's really easy. What do you think of in terms of shifting your energy? What is one of the most easy things that people can do?
Who are you asking first?
It doesn't matter. Just I'm putting it out there.
Well, for me, what I've learned is if I find myself in a bad mood, I identify what the bad mood is, and then I pivot to what I want instead. And
Right.
sometimes we do secret shifters, and I've talked about that, is like you could do secret shifters like I do with my sister, but you can also do that for yourself. And what that means is like, what is it that you love to do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of my crazy things I love to do is I love getting in the car, putting on country music really, really loud, and driving down the freeway and singing.
Well,
Yeah.
that was what I was going toward is music. Music is one of the easiest ways to shift your mood. just put on something that makes you happy, that motivates you. Dance in your house. Nobody's watching. Who cares? You know what I mean? Just it is such an easy way to change the frequency and change the energy in your environment. And guess what? Pets absolutely respond so well to music. Um, Especially like cats like classical.
Mhm.
It's the vibrational frequency. It's the classical
They're
music.
not rappers.
No, typically not. But like solfeggio frequencies, which address the chakras in the body, meditation music, cats just, they're zonked. When you put on meditation music, they're just like, they're so zen. So those are just simple ways. And I know, I love Amanda. She's saying, laughter, sunshine, go for walks. Yes, anything we can do to shift our energy when you feel like you're in a bad headspace, you're in a bad mood, you're grumpy, you're complaining or whatever. I love how you say, just first of all, you have to like be aware, like, okay, I am in a bad mood. What can I do to pivot? What can I do to shift? And just do it. Don't even don't overanalyze it. Just, okay, I want to shift. So what can I do? Take one of these options and just do it and see how long it takes you to raise your vibe.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. It really is. I think we don't consider the power of shifting energy. People tend to go for a pill, right? They want to take a pill for every ill and they assume that that's just going to fix the whole problem. But why do you want to take a pill when you've got all these other great options that can boost your mood, make you happy, raise your vibration, change your diet? I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do, and we probably should do. We would have a much better outcome if we incorporated some of these non-medicinal things. In addition, if you have to take a medication for life, reasons, that's fine. But what else can you do to help
Right.
shift your body and change your frequency and raise your vibration? There's so many wonderful things that don't cost any money, like Amanda was saying. Go for a walk, get some sunshine. Know how that feels. I mean, we all know how it feels when we go outside and we sit in the sun and it's a beautiful day and you can just feel the heat on your skin and your mood shifts and the sun is shining versus a cloudy day where it's raining and storming and we all want to just burrow inside. You know what I mean? It's a total shift of energy. It really, really is.
I'm gonna go grab something really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I think, Pam, that number one thing is awareness, because there's so many people that I know that
100%.
don't even, like this morning, I was like, I'm in a bad mood and I want to be in a bad mood because that was wrong. And I was treated in, like that sort of thing.
Yep.
But then I was like, okay, you have wasted 3 hours of your day on that. Are
Mhm.
you done now? Yeah.
You had to have a little pity party, and then you can, okay, I'm ready to
Yeah.
move on and let it go. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, and you've got to give yourself grace, and if it takes you 3 hours, it takes you 3 hours, then that's okay.
Yes.
You've
Yes.
got to remember that too. People, don't be so hard on yourself. It's like, don't say I shouldn't be this way. I should be in a good mood and I've got to get out of this mood. No, sometimes there's stuff that you have to work through, and if you're trying to jump out of it, you may be missing the magic that's there for you to learn.
Mm,
Hmm.
You know,
yes.
this is one thing that I do. This is, let's see. So this here is my little car, and I have this car,
Okay.
and it's a 1963 Chevy Nova convertible.
Okay.
And um, this is the color that it drove off the showroom floor, and those are all the little characters in it. All my characters on the packaging. And that's one of the things that I'll do, talking about country music, right? I'll hop in my convertible, put down the top, and I'll drive around the city. And you talk about an experience. I mean, whenever you guys come here, you have to come. Make sure you let me know when you're coming so we can set time up to hang out. And I'll take you for like a little like Hollywood tour in the convertible, right? And it is one of the most beautiful experiences. I get so many people when I do this with people when they come to town and I take them for a ride in it. It's one of the most beautiful experiences that you can experience. And I don't know what it is. I call the car celebrity because it gets so much attention. And it was really funny because like when I just redid it. It used to be teal and white. When I was a surfer, I used to have it teal and white, and so it used to be a very California color. But I decided I would take it back to the original color that it was made, you know. And so this is how it drove off the showroom floor. Um, but after I had finished working on it, I pulled up to a Starbucks in Beverly Hills, and the car kind of did that plum, 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 plum. When you turned it off. It kind of stuttered a little bit, right? And I was like going, oh, here I am in Beverly Hills is making this. And it just was the car, and I knew it, and it's okay. And so there was a homeless guy sitting there at Starbucks on the outside, and here we're in Beverly Hills. And so I just pull up and I just parked my car, it stuttered. I go inside, and it's just one thing I've always learned in my life is that if I've got money in my pocket and I can buy someone a sandwich that maybe it doesn't have the fortunate ability to buy themselves a sandwich or a drink or something like that, I'll do that. And I do that for homeless people all the time. You know, I will come if I go in to buy myself something, if I have to sacrifice my thing for the person, I'll even do that. You know, I could do without, you know, but it was like so beautiful because I came out of the Starbucks and I had a little bag for him with a sandwich and a little drink to go, one of their teas or something like that. And he's like, man, I really like your car. And I'm like, thanks. And he goes, and you know, people think it's because it's the body's a 62 to a 64. And he goes, is it a 62? And I said, no, it's a 63. And he goes, wow, it's really, really beautiful. And I said, well, I just kind of restored it back to its original, you know, get up. And he goes, do you have a toolbox in your trunk? And I sat there and I said, well, yeah, I do. You can't drive this kind of car without a toolbox in the trunk, can you? And he goes, no, you really need one, right? And he goes, grab your toolbox. I got the toolbox. He goes, start it, pop the hood. He took a screwdriver out of my toolbox, went in my hood, made a couple of adjustments, and my car hums to this day because of that guy. You know, and everybody in Beverly Hills, they're all like, oh my God, what does this guy do? You know, just snotty ass people. Me playing with a homeless person, they're like, they couldn't believe, you know, but it was like, it was so beautiful. And it's one of the things that's like really cool about the car. And I don't know what it is, but it's with homeless people. I get homeless people all the time. When they see my car, they light up. And it brings all this beautiful energy to it. And the only thing that I can put to it is the fact that it's the age of the car, and
Nostalgia.
most people are homeless in the age of the homeless person. They grew up with the car and they knew the car, and it it brings back their childhood with them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, talking about changing your energy. You drive around in my car. My sister loves it. I mean, talking about going back to my good old sister here, right? She loves it. She's like, let's go for a drive. We'll go down PCH or we'll go to, to Malibu. And it gets so much attention because they only made so many of them, and there's only so many left in the world now, you know? And I happen to I've had this for like 30 years now, but it's like, it's things like that. That's where you get natural energy. It's like when you could do something like that and go for a drive and listen, like you said, music. There's so many beautiful things that we can do, and we sometimes forget that.
Yeah.
We forget those simple things. I mean, look at you woke up and I'm like you, Jenny. You woke up and you're kind of your day. It's like give yourself the 3 hours or whatever it takes for you. Go for a walk and find yourself back into alignment, whatever it might be. And it may take you some time, and there may be new tools that you need to discover for that alignment. Sometimes one tool doesn't work, you need to go to another tool. But it's really, if everybody can just wake up in the morning and find their alignment and start their day with alignment. And it's like, and when you talk about music, it's like when I wake up, Serge is usually at the gym and he's on his way back by the time I'm getting my butt out of bed. I blast music throughout our place. I hop in the shower and I sit there for 30 minutes and have like a really nice shower with beautiful music going on. And it's just like, it sets my day. It makes my mood. And so it's like, and to hear that, our pets too, they feel it. They could feel the energy in the air, and they could feel, it's like, we don't have a pet right now ourselves, and I wish we did, but we just are responsible pet people, and we don't have the time for pets right now.
Mhm.
We travel so much, we're visiting so many different stores, we're always on the go, we're working with rescues, so we have tons of pets, we have thousands of pets. But it's like all this new stuff that I'm learning with energy, I can't wait to bring it into my pet's life.
Mhm. One of the most simple things people can do every day is before you even get out of bed, think about something you can be grateful for. Maybe just the fact that, you know what, I woke up, I have a new day ahead of me. I'm grateful that I have this day ahead of me and all the cool things that I'm going to do today. Um, just focus on gratitude. Gratitude, when we focus on gratitude, is the easiest way to shift our energy from the self pity party, anger, irritation, depression, sadness, whatever that is, and start thinking about even just the simple things like I have a roof over my head. I have cats to snuggle with. It can be the most basic, basic, basic. Like I have a great relationship with my mom. Whatever it is, I have food in my refrigerator today. Whatever it is that you can just shift that focus of, I am so grateful that I can do what I'm doing, whatever it is, you
Yeah.
know, that I can sleep till 7 in the morning or, whatever it is. I'm so grateful. I just remember the first year that I moved here, it was within the first several months. I just remember one evening before I went to bed, I was just sitting up in bed and I just had one of those gratitude experiences. I probably spent 30 to 45 minutes just thinking about all the things I was grateful for. And oh my gosh, by the time I was done, I felt like my heart had swelled like this big.
Hmm.
I felt like the whole energy of the room was just filled with this high vibrational. I cannot even explain how I felt after that experience. And it was the coolest thing. And when we can put ourselves into that vibrational frequency, you're just going to keep attracting more of that vibrational frequency to you. So, if nothing else, just start your day with a couple minutes of gratitude when you wake up and go, thank you for a new day and all the cool things and that I'm going to do today and the people that I'm going to meet and talk to and all the pets I'm going to help and the fact that I can sit here and cuddle with my cats this morning, I'm just so grateful that I have this moment. Just a gratitude.
Do you snuggle with your little man, Jenny? Like when you does he sleep with you all night or does he sleep in his own space?
He's actually started sleeping with me since Trig died, but he didn't previously, which is weird because all my cats have always slept with me. But these two that I've had for the whatever 14 and a half years. Well, anyway, Trig's dead, but those are the only cats I've ever had that haven't slept with me. Um, but no, yeah, he doesn't. I mean, like this morning I woke up and he was right next to me. I have a king bed, so like he's on the other side, and I'll roll over and pet him and say hi, and he'll be like, "Brr." um,
Brr.
Pam knows what that is.
Yeah, that little trill.
Uh-huh, it's the best.
Uh-huh. It is the best.
The little I love you in the morning. Is that what that is?
It's more like a hello. I don't. How would you describe it?
It's like, oh, look at me. I'm so cute.
Oh, it's a little ego thing like, hi mom, look how beautiful I am. Pet me.
Yes, Henry, give me some attention. Yeah, exactly. They're so funny.
Oh, that is so, so cute. So, what else can we talk about energy? Anything that we haven't touched? Because it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty straightforward when you really. I mean, it's like we talk about this stuff all the time. It's like when we get into it, when we start to really think about it, it seems so obvious, but for some reason, it's so hard for us to remember sometimes.
Well, I think what Jenny said earlier is just super, super important, and is that's just creating an awareness. Just how, like, I know Rhonda Byrne, who with the secret, she would check in with herself several times a day and just go, "Am I aware? Am I aware?" And whatever that awareness that I need to have right now, am I aware? How am I feeling? How am I doing? How am I speaking? How am I handling my day? Is anything affecting me that I can flip, or pivot on? Do I need to pivot? What am I thinking about? What kind of thoughts am I holding right now? Am I aware? Because if you're not aware, you're totally oblivious. And you could let any kind of energy affect you and you don't even know it. Um, just like, the old people that sit around and talk about their ailments all the time. They're not even aware that they're just drawing more of that energy to put them in more doctor's offices and take more medication. So it's about awareness, like you said, you know?
Well, you talk about the old people talking about their ailments, right? And here in California, down in Huntington Beach, there was like one of the first ever really big retirement communities, and it was called Leisure World. And all the all the people got all the people that lived there, they got so fed up with it being called Leisure World, they made them change it because they're like, we're not here for leisure, we're here for fun, we're here for dancing, and we want to. I mean, it's like it was really cute to see this. It's a documentary, and I think it's called Leisure World, and it was like all these people, and they did this documentary on centenarians or centenarians where they're over 100 or
Centenarians.
centenarian. Did you
Yeah,
see that by chance, you guys?
no, I didn't. Mm-mm. But
Oh
that's
my God. It is pretty amazing when you see these people
yeah.
that are, and they included people that were like late 90s to 100 plus, and you listen to some of these people and how they, because they say, well, what do you think brought you to this age in your life? How did you think you get? And it was really just waking up, being happy, enjoying life. And it's like, as much as like, I don't drink personally, and I think, oh, that's going to add years to my life. I doubt that it will add years to my life. It's probably taken away years from my life, actually. I don't know, but it's like, they drink, they party, they have sex. I mean, it was amazing to hear these people saying like they're 96 years old and they're chasing each other, and they know who the hot guy is but it's like it's a really cute thing to watch. It's inspiring because you get to see that life isn't over at 40, 50, 60, 70, or whatever. It
Mhm.
continues, and it's all about attitude and where you put your energy and wake up and start your day and what you do for your day and what positive things you've got planned for your day. And you can always restart your day. That's one thing too that I've learned too, is you can always restart your day. There's
Mhm.
nothing you can't, there's no reason why you can't restart your day. If you're really having a shitty day, stop and restart it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
One of the things I read early on, I found a book called The Da Vinci Method. I was dating this one person, and every time we'd go, he loved botanical gardens. He loved going to all these different gardens here in Los Angeles, and I never knew we had so many of them. But he would take me to all these different, for the weekends. That would be our weekend thing. We'd go to flea markets and gardens, and it was a whole new world for me, and I really enjoyed it. But it was like we went to this one place, and I might have said this before, where I looked over and there was this incredible palm tree, a king palm tree, and it was so beautiful. It looked like Walt Disney designed it. It was so perfect, and it was just in a garden. And immediately I took off and I ran over and I looked at it, and I was just like admiring just the cuts, the trimming, the gardeners, the way they took care of it. It was just like, it was perfect. I was just, I couldn't believe it. And I was just, and he turned around, he turned around to talk to me. He's like, Michael, and I was gone. And he's like, what the fuck? Where are you? And he was like, all mad at me and just like, why can't you sit still? You just get distracted so easily. So then I decided I'd go online and look for something. And I'm like, what's a positive spin about being ADHD? You know, why look at it being negative? There's got to be positive aspects. So let's learn this. So I found this book, and it's called The Da Vinci Method.
Mm.
And one of the biggest things that it taught me early on in the book, and I've shared this with so many parents that have kids that are ADHD, is there's a real simple thing that you do in the morning with your child. is when they wake up, because like most parents, when they wake up, they go into their routine immediately. They're automatically in a routine. Okay, get them in the bath, get them dressed, get them ready for food, da da da, get them ready for to leave the house, get them ready for school. They do all this stuff, and they get the kids already wound up already. They're already wound up, and then you're getting them wound up even more. And the book said the number one thing you do is you take your child out for a 30-minute walk in the morning and let them walk around the neighborhood with you. And by them walking around the neighborhood, it's like listening to music for them. Like we were talking, I'm using music, right? Is they start to look at all the different trees and all the different leaves, and they start to look at all the different bushes, and it starts to pull their alignment in their brain it slows their beta and their theta down together, and they start to think together. And by the time they get home, they're calm. And by the time they get to school, they can focus. And it was just really amazing that it was such a simple little thing that can be done, and people just didn't know this, and it hadn't been shared by many people. But when I share this with parents that have kids that, are ADHD and they don't know what to do, I'm like, try this, get this book, read this book, listen to it. And the changes that these kids are going through just by just having that 30 minutes to start their day. It's like, like sitting on your vibration machine that you do.
I don't sit on it. I stand on it. You can sit on it, but yeah,
right, like a power plate. Yeah,
we talked about walks can change your energy, and that's exactly what that Da Vinci method is doing.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's like, just for everybody in the room and that listens to this. And it's like, and I see that we see people that are here, but my other channel, we get a lot more people seeing the show afterwards. Just so you guys know, I don't know how many people get to see your shows, but we get a lot more on the other channel.
Yeah.
That's why I linked the two together. Eventually I'll drop the other channel and just stay on this channel. But, I get so many comments on there too. And it's just like, people love listening to you ladies. They love listening to your experiences. I mean, already the changes that we've made in people's lives with their cats is just amazing.
That's awesome.
I mean, I've gotten comments about your fleas stuff on my other channel that I just adore. It's like people, I mean, it's so beautiful to see that this information is not just sitting in one place and not going anywhere. It's actually touching people's lives. And I do have, I have the two people, I've got two people now that, I'm going to bring in that will, talk to the pets for us, and now we'll be able to show pictures and all that. So I'm going to actually start that group here soon. But it's just like, I just adore what we do here. And I know that we're, at our time here, but I just want to say, you guys, thank you so much for playing with me on the channel here, because what you guys are doing here with me, we're making a difference in people's lives. And that makes me happy. That's my happy space.
Well, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah. I mean, it's, it's so important that we, it takes me out of my shit. When I get after my day, I had like a crazy day today. I've got syringes being shipped from France and they're lost on the ocean somewhere and they're trying to find them. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's great. But I'm like, I've got this great guy that I'm talking to on the East Coast, and he's been like so wonderful to work with. And he's like, oh, we'll find your syringes. Don't worry. If they sink, we'll get you new ones, but it's just like, it's just like, you never know what life is going to throw you. I thought I was going to have an easy day today, but it's been like nonstop. And it's, but it's like, it's doing things like this at the end of the day for me makes a big difference for me, being able to share my love for pets and your love for pets and everybody else's love for pet. Look, you got two of them there. You got one, look at it. One's looking back there.
I think the dogs are outside again.
They're like, Mom, they're coming in. They're coming in any second.
I know. Here they come running. They come running inside.
Anything that we didn't go over that we want to throw in there before we jump off, ladies? Anything about energy? Anything that has come to your minds or anything?
Well, there's other energy modalities, but I think this is a good start. Easy place for people to start, right?
Yeah. And did you guys all watch how Pam's energy changed when she was snuggling a cat?
Mm-hmm.
That I had a cat that would change my energy entirely by just holding him. So yes, it can
Yeah,
really.
you got to see my heart explode. That's all.
That's
Well, and
right.
it does. It does. It's like, and she's absolutely. And I don't know where our names went. That's weird. Our names disappeared when we pulled up that thing. Did you see that? But that is
Yes.
funny. It's like when Jenny was talking, all of a sudden one walked up to you, and then the other one walked up to you, and you became like, it was like almost like I want to almost say like a mystical character, like like some ancient, like, I don't know, Viking woman with like a headdress on, like you're there for protection, and you're just.
Oh.
It was really cute. It was. I see exactly what you're talking about. But it was the same thing. It's like when Charlie showed up that one time with us, your energy just changed. You just like, and that's what's so beautiful about and that's why it's so important to keep your energy clean with your pets, is because like they could feel you, and a lot of times I'm sure they could feel you before you feel them. They probably your cats probably come up to you and say, "Hey, psst, mom, what's going on here?"
Oh, absolutely. We can walk in the door having a really bad day, and to them, we look like the character from Peanuts. Um, what's
Big
it?
Pen.
Yeah.
Pigpen.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like, whoa, that energy walks in ahead of us. So if you are having a bad day, get you a selenite wand and wand yourself before you walk in the door, and clear that energy so that you don't walk in and just, you know, overwhelm them with all the negative vibes. So that's my advice.
I'm gonna be walking in like this from now on everywhere I go. You're blessed, my child. Here, let me see you. Stand up. Oh, you go over in that corner. I need to give you a double dose.
You can floss your teeth at the same time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, guys. Today's energy is stinky breath. No, that's horrible. Well, okay, everybody. I just want to say thank you to everybody that was in our room today, that is sitting here enjoying our conversation together. Jenny, thank you for jumping in at the last minute. We love having you here. So
Thank you for
I
having me.
think we're considering you kind of part of our posse now. So get ready.
Okay.
We're pivoting you, and we're pulling you into some fun energy together here. Um, Someone asked before we go, oh my God, what does she use for fleas? Let me find your channel here. Amanda, can you put up
I think
Floppy
Amanda
Cat?
did.
She did.
Amanda linked to the specific video, the
Oh,
live
she
that we
did?
did.
Do you
Yes.
see it?
Yes.
It's right here, right?
Yeah. And Dee
Okay.
already wrote, thank you guys. Or maybe she means just for tonight, but
Yeah.
But
So,
I told Dee she can just click on whatever channel name that she's watching this on, or you can right click and go to open a new tab, and then um, just go to the channel like main page, and then you sort by videos, and then look for the flea one.
yeah, definitely check it out. D, was it D that asked that question about the fleas, right? Yeah,
So,
D, definitely check it out, because she's got some great information that's all natural, it's all organic and all that, and holistic, and
we had a great conversation.
it's it's great information to have as part of your your toolkit against the fight of these little monsters that pop up during a certain time of the year.
Yes.
It's like, I think I'm going to paint a flea for you.
No, I don't want that energy.
With
Damn
a
it.
noose. How about one with a noose?
Yeah.
There you go. Something like that, right?
They are so microscopic. It's just like, that was another thing. Speaking of like gratitude and awareness and stuff, the last one that I caught, I put in a Ziploc baggie thinking like, okay, I'll do another video showing how Feline Essentials Flea X will kill this little bastard. And I didn't get to it. It ended up dying in the Ziploc baggie, but I still have it on my countertop, and I look at it and I'm like, you are almost microscopic, and it's amazing that you can make my life a living hell. It's amazing. Like, just this tiny little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, and he was still living inside the bag.
He lived for about 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. They're like little Hummers. They can go through anything.
Yeah. They're awful.
Well, okay, ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. Jenny,
Thank you.
have a beautiful evening. Pam, thank you
Thank you.
always so much. Everybody in the chat, Amanda, thank you for just being our monitor here, sharing your information. Dee, thank you. Everybody, thank you for coming in today. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. We don't know what the topic's going to be. Somebody, what was the topic that you were thinking of earlier, Pam?
Oh, environmental toxins.
Yeah, let's. You know what? Let's do that next week. Let's put that on our list. I'll pop something up for it. So next week, you guys, we're going to talk about environmental toxin, what's around us, the toxins that we don't even realize that we're living with every single day. I mean, it's pretty eye opening when you start to really dig into seeing what's around you and what you're breathing and you're sleeping with, every night. It's crazy what we have in our house. So with that, you guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Remember, energy is so important in your lives, in our lives, in our pets' lives, and we all feel it from each other. If you're in a shitty mood, go for a walk, listen to some music, grab your furry family, squeeze the hell out of them until they squeal back at you or whatever you have to do. But it's not, every day is a new day and it always gets better and it changes. And I always say, people are like, well, why do we have to have bad times? We have to have bad times because bad times allow us to expand to better times.
And appreciate the good times. And we learn more in the bad times, right?
And we learn. The bad times give us a moment for expansion, and we really need, we all need to expand. We don't, a lot of us think we know a lot about our egos, but our little egos get in our way all the time. And if we can just really understand that with our energy, we just maybe stay one step ahead of everything. So with that, everybody have a beautiful, beautiful night. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. I do have another room coming up I think it's coming up this next coming week, next Monday. If you guys are around, come join me. I'm going to be speaking with Christina, who is a vet, and she is in Liverpool. And so she's going to be on my show next Monday. And a friend of mine I haven't seen for a while, so we'll be doing a lot of catch up. She's a dermatologist for pets, so she's a great one to talk about dermatologists. Any issue that you have with your pet and all that, she'll have some great answers for you. Be sure to jump in on that one as well. I also spoke with my friend John this weekend, and he is an orthopedic surgeon for pets, mostly with bigger dogs. And he's at a convention and he leaves, I think, in a few days, and I'm going to schedule him to be on the show. He's one, I mean, his knowledge is just priceless. So what you guys are learning here, you're getting so much incredible information here, and it's not coming from me. It's coming from my experts, the people that I bring on the show, all my guests. They're just, they're so wise in what they do and what they've studied and what they've gone through and, and finding each other. So please, keep coming back. If you haven't, hit the like button to Jenny or Pam's or my channel. Please do that. It just helps us get the word out there more, brings more people in, so we just can educate more people and just let people know the options that they have at their hands. With that, everybody have a beautiful, beautiful night, the rest of your week. And I will see everybody soon. Ladies, good night. It was nice having you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye, guys.